Nobody ever saw this photo. Lessening in intensity, the grin waned. Say hello to Kelly Ripa. Sitting outside a critical care room, she believed she was about to bid goodbye to Mark Conso, the anchor of her life, during her gravest hour. They are the most famous couple in television history, and their romance is straight out of a Hollywood classic. They have been our relationship's compass for almost 30 years. Imagine instead if we said that this unbreakable link was once created in the crucible of mutual fear, that an unseen, unexpected danger that affects millions of people almost broke their renowned love. Breakups aren't the focus here. This is the account of an unexpected breakdown, a medical emergency, alongside that one pivotal evening when Kelly solemnly vowed to do something, an incredible promise that changed their destiny in ways you won't believe and saved Mark's life. This is a tale for all those who have ever stared at their significant other and thought, what would I do if I lost you? Kelly Ripa and Mark Conso have been an admired couple for more than 25 years. Their partnership appears to defy the Hollywood odds, and they've built their empire on love, laughing, and a shared vision. We witness their glitzy red carpet appearances, their bragging about their children on social media, and their lighthearted morning show banter. It depicts a life that has been meticulously and joyously built. For a lot of people, they represent the realization of a lifelong ambition, discovering the one and creating a lovely life with them. Far into our twilight years, their marriage appeared not just effortless, but exhilarating. Here, however, is the first and most important reality of any committed partnership, one that those of us in our 60s know all too well. In order to be powerful and attractive, a tree's roots must be deep and, at times, hidden. Unseen storms have passed over them. Not a public scandal or professional setback was the stormiest thing that had happened to Kelly and Mark. Someone had called. Everything would crumble into sterility and coldness with only one panicked call, shattering the golden illusion. On a typical Tuesday, Mark felt what he believed to be indigestion, and thus began it all. A typical day was supposed to have transpired. Mark had gone off to work on something. His chest tightened, and he felt short of breath. He put it down to stress, exhaustion, or even something he ate. It's simple to ignore the warnings, isn't it? Little aches and pains are just part of life at this point in our lives. The agony, however, was significant. A heart attack is a terrible reminder of our own mortality since it happens suddenly and without warning. No partner ever wanted to be the one to make that terrifying phone call to Kelly. The bewildering and hasty journey to the hospital, with doctors yelling terms like critical, obstacle, and critical care in a jumble. The realm of morning show antics and red carpets disappeared in an instant. The sound of life support equipment began to buzz and beep in its stead. Mark Conso's strength and vitality were abruptly sapped, the precipice of his imminent demise. As she held his motionless hand and watched the numbers on the screen decide her destiny, Kelly, the lady who effortlessly dominates a stage, was rendered helpless. A future spent alone was a very real possibility. A startling clarity, however, started to emerge in the pitch black while she listened to the cadence of his strained breaths. She promised herself and him in that moment of clarity. The rules of their marriage would be eternally altered by this commitment. It lasted all night. The only sources of light in the critical care unit are the monitors and the anxiety that each patient feels. Neither the glitzy parties nor the public adulation were on Kelly's mind as she maintained her watch. The focus returned to the ordinary. In their first kitchen, they shared coffee. Parenting small children is a delightful and exhausting whirlwind. Enjoying a book in the same serene setting, it hit her like a ton of bricks as she realized they were in the later trap. We will go on a tour later. We will ease up later. In the future, we can waste entire days chatting about utter nonsense. An extraordinary existence had been crafted for them, but were they doing it from the heart, rather than only overseeing it? Kelly Ripa thus made a solemn promise during the darkest hour of the night. Leaning up close, she murmured a vow. Together, they would embark on an exciting new journey. The two of them began to go alone. They embarked on exciting joint initiatives. They restarted their dating relationship. What remained after the critical care unit crises had purged all the unnecessary elements was an unadulterated love that had been freely chosen. And in this new chapter, they made a decision that shocked the nation. They made a choice that would lead them to purchase a house thousands of miles away from Hollywood, in a location that was significant to their initial romantic encounter. Kelly and Mark's shocking purchase of an Italian property astonished everyone. A place to call home, not only a holiday rental. They were constructing their brand new lives based on the values that originated in that intensive care unit: diligence, happiness, and the value of one's time. They had quietly been in a relationship in Italy. It was a throwback to their carefree, innocent romance before their names were famous. I wasn't planning on retiring. An upturn had occurred. Their life plans didn't revolve around professional advancement, but around sunsets, leisurely dinners, and the great joy of being in each other's presence. There was never really a goodbye between them, despite what the press said. This marked the end of an era for them. Kelly said farewell to her anxieties while sitting in the hospital bed. This was their way of saying goodbye to the constant scrutiny of the public eye. Tears of change, not of loss, were shed, yet they were genuine. You will now know this secret the next time you observe Kelly and Mark radiating a different type of light. Their romance isn't perfect, but that doesn't make it a fairy tale. They fought for it, so it must be a fairy tale. As they beheld the finish line, a decision was reached. Throughout the dramatic moments and the subsequent quiet, painstaking rebuilding of each day, they chose each other. Their story serves as a poignant reminder that no matter what, there is always an opportunity to start over, to find love, and to make a new commitment. Kelly and Mark had spent their lives creating the ideal, but their horrifying descent into medical catastrophe was the required brutal blow that shattered it. They had been leading a life that was planned for a show of success, not merely for enjoyment, for years. The Hollywood power couple title, the enormous empire, and the successful careers of their children were the pinnacle of their pursuits. What they hadn't realized they were doing was creating a stunning golden prison. The key to that cage was Kelly's silent vow in the intensive care unit. It was an oath to put being present rather than focusing on getting things done. Yet, making a solemn vow was merely the beginning. Deconstructing a dream was a silent, arduous process that took months and was the real challenge. A mental and physical marathon was Mark's road to recovery. After being the epitome of masculine vigor and a powerful leading man, the man fell victim to exhaustion, vulnerability, and dependence. The reality that the chest ache he had carelessly ignored was actually a grave danger had to sink in. Now there was no denying the haughtiness with which he had previously disregarded his own health. Equally startling for Kelly was the switch in roles. His wife and lively co-star were no longer her only roles in their relationship. She oversaw his care, let him in and out, and enforced rules regarding his food and sleep. The furnace of dire necessity was reshaping their bond, shifting from the public loved, light-hearted red carpet romance to an intense, silent alliance in the military. It was not a dazzling new face. Uncomfortable as it was completely authentic. Upon Mark's recovery, the empty nest became a sobering reminder of how much they had abandoned their parental and creative roles. The sound reverberated through their magnificent New York home as soon as their children departed. Their imperceptible slip was no longer obscured by the flurry of activities. Kelly used to make fun of their incompatibility when they held hands, but now that was no longer an issue. When they were both sick of talking about their children, it was about finding something deeper to discuss.